Welcome to Motherhood in ADHD. I'm your friend, Patricia Sen. My mission is to be a lighthouse for mothers with ADHD, helping you find your path to success by learning to appreciate your ADHD as an asset. I'm seeking to change the paradigm that ADHD means your life is doomed to be a hot mess. So I'm sharing strategies and encouraging you in your pursuit of happiness to love who you are every day of your ADHD life. Hey there, successful mama. It's your friend Patricia. I am so excited that you are here today to chat with me, and I can't believe that right now I'm recording this and it's the end of July and I'm talking about back to school, which as a former teacher, like poking my eyeballs out with sporks, discussing school in July. But I just felt it was really important. And I was thinking about this earlier this week because I had pulled out my son's backpack off the hook that it lives on during the school year, and we needed to use it for camp. And I opened the backpack to put his camp stuff in, and lo and behold, I had never gone through his backpack on the last day of school. And there were still like his sweet thank you notes from his teachers for the end of year presents we gave them, and his name tag with his adorable little picture on it, his change of clothes for emergencies that no longer fit him now. And I was just like, oh my goodness, I'm usually on top of this kind of thing. And I genuinely did not realize that this backpack was still full of school stuff. And it made me think about how my routines are just so ingrained in me, and they make my life so wonderful. I know most people with ADHD think routine is a four-letter word, but routines allow me to get done the stuff that I have to get done so that I have time to have fun and enjoy my life. Like, I have to get laundry done no matter if I do it on a regular basis or I wait until there's a mountain. Either way, the laundry's got to get done. Like, people need clean underwear at some point. So your routine, the way you customarily do things, is either one that you have planned for and you have made it work for you, or your routine is to be a hot mess. And you know, I'm all about getting off the hot mess express and bringing calm into our lives. So this is also for myself because I have been struggling so hard, y'all, with the summer transition. Like, every week is different. It's like one week we're going to a camp, then we're going to VBS, the next week we have swim lessons, and it's been so fun. And I'm so thankful that my kids have these opportunities to enrich themselves over the summer. But like, it's killing me because every week is different, and I'm trying to get into a rhythm, and there's never a rhythm. It's always something new. And so I started thinking about, like, what do I need to do to get ready for the school year? Because obviously, like, with the end of school, things got crazy, and our usual habit of cleaning out backpacks as soon as we got home didn't happen. Somehow the backpack ended up back on the hook, and there it sat the last 2 months with all the stuff in it. So I am actually excited to get back into the rhythm of things, and I made a list for myself, and hopefully this helps you as well, of all the things that we can do to prepare for the transition and make it as smooth as possible. Because we all know there's going to be hiccups, there are going to be things that we didn't think about, but if we have a plan and preparation in place for all the things we do know are coming or have thought about that are coming, then we have time to deal with the hiccups or the surprises with grace. And the example that was just really glaring me in the face just this past couple weeks is I've had this sinus infection that I've been fighting for 3 weeks. And there were a solid 4 or 5 days at the beginning where I was just a mess in bed, just doing the bare minimum to get by. And the house didn't fall apart. Laundry was caught up. So the fact that I didn't do any for 4 or 5 days was totally fine. Those routines are what kept me sane and didn't feel so stressed about relaxing and trying to rest and know that my family was still fairly together. So here's my list of preparation that we can get done before school starts, just to make our lives a little bit easier. First one is make a foundational schedule. This is something that I learned from Hal Elrod. He has the whole Miracle Morning series, is that a foundational schedule runs through what your week just generally looks like. And these are things that happen every week. So it's not random things thrown in, but we go to school at this time, pickup is at this time. On Mondays, we have gymnastics at 5:30, those kind of things where it's always happens every week. You can find a form on Google of a foundational schedule and fill it in. I have one that I downloaded off of Excel that I can modify easily. And I want you to hang it up somewhere that you'll see it all the time, and make sure you have a photo of it on your phone so you have it with you. And this gives you a chance to kind of look ahead and see, do I have any conflicts? Like, did I schedule 2 things at one time? Like 2 kids have to be in an activity at the same time, and I can't obviously be in 2 places at once. Make sure that you also put on there some downtime. You know what? Wednesday is our chill day. We're not doing stuff. This is our day to be at home eating dinner as a family, or whatever you want that to look like. But having that idea of generally how things are going to run on a week allows you to know what's generally happening. And then it's a lot easier to make decisions on things, like if all of a sudden your son's like, hey, I really want to play soccer with so-and-so. The practices are on Mondays and Thursdays at 6. You can look at your foundational schedule and know right away, hey, that's something that we can't do. Or, okay, well, let's think about it. That might be an option. This also is a time to plan out those extracurricular activities. If you know that your kids are going to be in swim lessons year round, then go ahead and figure out all the things that you can, basically, and put them in that foundational schedule. So anything that you can think ahead on, get it locked in, signed up, registrations done. Make sure then that all of your activities are in your calendar, whether you use your phone or a planner, paper-wise, whatever you do. Make sure you have your system set up and that everything that you already know about is already entered in there. So dates, meetings, field trips. So that way as it comes up, you already have a system in place for how you're going to keep track of everything. I personally keep all of my appointments in terms of I have to be there at a certain time is all on my phone calendar. And then in terms of my to-do list, I keep that all in my bullet journal on paper. And I write out my schedule for the week. But I like that my phone reminds me 15 minutes before I need to be somewhere in case I forget, whereas my paper calendar is not going to remind me. Quit looking at Facebook and get out the door. Okay, next item. Make a folder or like a box or somewhere that all the school papers that need you to do something about are going to go. When your kids come in the door after school and they're unloading backpacks, like, when you have like 43,000 forms that you have to send back in that first week of school, like the kids know anything that mom needs to fill out goes in this box or this folder. And I think it's really important too that I mentioned, like, if you have big kids, they need to do their part first. They shouldn't just be dumping all that junk in a folder. Like, you want to make it age appropriate, but at the same time, I feel like as moms, a lot of times we don't realize that our kid can do new things because we always see them as our baby. Whereas their teacher, who only sees them as a 5th grader, knows what 5th graders can do and will have them doing things that you're like, oh, I never really thought about that. I would have parents be like, what, the kids cleaned out their own lockers? And I'm like, yeah, I handed them some spray bottle and a paper towel. I'm like, I had to break up some spray bottle fights here and there, but like, they all know how to wipe down and clean stuff. And I had parents who are like, what? Because that's still their baby, like you don't think your baby can push that hard because they're baby, but really like kids can do a lot of good stuff much younger than I think we push them for. So anyway, getting back off my soapbox, sorry. If your kid has like, for example, like if your high schooler is filling out paperwork to get a parking spot at school, like they're in high school, like they should fill out all the stuff that they can fill out and then give the paper to you, not just hand you a pile of forms to fill out. Like, I'm sorry, if you can drive a car, like you can fill out a form, Okay, so once you have your spot where papers are going to go, that the kids know, like, I'm going to be getting this out of my bag, I put it here, and then when you're done with it, you give it back to them. Now, keep in mind, if you have a lot of kids, you might want to make like a folder or box for each kid, if that makes life easier. So just kind of, you know your boundaries. If you know you can look at it and tell which kid it's for, hey, go for it. If you're like, ooh, where did this come from? Then you might want to have different areas for different kids. Next item, create your launch pad for all of the kids' stuff, like backpacks, sports equipment, somewhere in the house where you know their stuff is going to live from when they get home from school till when they leave for school the next day. Obviously, like you can go down the depths of Pinterest and find 43 million beautiful ideas to do this, but like it also could just be like a command hook in the hallway. Like you don't have to get crazy here. Just know that like, hey, all of Elijah's stuff is going to go in this spot. All of Joseph's stuff is going to go here. And the kids get them in that habit of like your coat and your backpack and your mittens and your baseball bat. Like all that stuff needs to live where it goes. And that way, at the end of the night, as part of your evening routine, you make sure everything's in the lunch pad before they go to bed. Another area you'll need is a homework area if your kids are at that point. Where is going to be a space that they know they can go do their work, they're not going to get distracted, You know whether your kid can work at the kitchen table or whether they need to be in a quiet room. Have handy nearby all the usual supplies. Like, you don't need an Office Depot, but like, you have your pens and your pencils, erasers, rulers, the few basic things that they're going to need frequently, all in that one spot. Even if you put it in like a shower caddy or something, that it doesn't have to be like this ordeal to get ready for homework time. It's like, where you're going, where the stuff is, let's get her done. Next item is the doozy. Write down a list of literally everything you are going to need for school time. I'm talking everything. This isn't just like school supplies, but doctor's appointments. Do they need a physical before they go back to school? Like, do you need a vaccination paper affidavit thingy? Do you need to have any meetings? Do you need to buy a new lunchbox? Do you have to do any registrations? And I'm not just talking for school, do you have a registration for some extracurriculars or something? Make yourself a grocery list of all the food you're going to need, for lunches and stuff. Easy dinners for that first couple of weeks where things are nutty and you don't want to be spending a lot of time slaving at the stove when you're trying to figure out all these papers and the homework and all that. If you need to work on any routines, make a list of that. Any sports stuff that's going on, literally everything or activity or commitment or item you need to check off the list to have for school. Brainstorm all the things so that you have an idea of what it's going to look like for you to be successful when the year starts. Obviously, if you have little ones, you may not know all the things that are coming, but you can think of a lot of stuff. You can ask some friends that have kids who have been at that school before. You can figure out a good amount of those things, even if you've never done it before. Next item, cleaning out closets, drawers, etc. of all the things that your kids either don't fit in anymore or are damaged now. Pack up all the hand-me-downs for any younger siblings. Get out stuff that are your new quote-unquote hand-me-downs for this kid. Get out any of your school appropriate clothing. If your kid wears uniforms, get all that out and make sure that their drawers and their closets are, and also think about the coat closet, things that they can utilize for the upcoming school year. Just get rid of all the stuff that you're not going to use. And then from there, that's when you can make your shopping list of, okay, you only have 3 pairs of pants. I need you to be able to get through the week. So we need to get you 2 or 3 more pairs of pants to get through this week. Once you know what you have, that's when you want to go shopping. Don't just go shopping and buy a bunch of stuff you don't need. I think a lot of times we buy way too much stuff for our kids. They like to wear the same things all the time. It's the 80-20 rule, Pareto's principle. Your kids are going to wear 20% of their clothes 80% of their time. My 4-year-old's super into dinosaurs right now. And so probably 6 days out of the week, he's wearing either a dinosaur shirt or a dinosaur shorts. Am I kind of bummed that we have dinosaurs all the time and he doesn't want to wear adorable polo shirts anymore? Yes, but that's what he's going to wear. So we don't need to buy 30 t-shirts for our elementary school kids. They're not going to wear all those. Make sure you have enough for a week, maybe 2, if that's how long you take to do laundry, and then let it go. You don't need that much stuff for them, really. Okay, now that you have brainstormed all of these things, we're going to make a to-do list timeline, and you're going to work backwards. So, hey, 3 days before school, we want to have the backpacks ready. So that means I need to go school supply shopping the week before so that you don't have so many things crammed at the last minute that you're stressed out. And then you'll know, when do I need to really start getting these things ready? I would suggest having plenty of buffer room in there, trying to have literally everything ready 3 days ahead or a week ahead, just so that you have time for disasters to pop up. If your kid all of a sudden gets a broken leg 3 days before school and you're hey, I was supposed to be school shopping today, that's a problem. So give yourself plenty of room to do this in a low stress environment. Also, a great way to remove the burden from you is to start thinking about what tasks can your kids do themselves. We're teaching them life skills here. Our job is not to raise great kids, but to raise great adults. So what are the things that you can teach them to do for themselves so that your life is easier later? I know that teaching them things takes 400 times longer and it can be really frustrating, but look at it as an investment. You're sewing into them so that they can figure out how to do these things on their own, so that eventually you're not doing them at all. And if you use this to-do list timeline to prepare, then you're not rushed and then frustrated that your kid's not doing something. If you have the time to really show them, here's how you put away your backpack, here's where your stuff's going to go, here's where I need you to put your papers when they come in. All that stuff is ways that we're making them great humans when they go off to college or the workforce and can like actually do their laundry on their own. It's important. All right, next item. Start your morning and evening routines at least a week before school starts. You already have so many new things going on the first week of school that we want to try to minimize the overload, not just for them, but for us as well. Like if they're used to like before bed, making sure everything's ready for the morning, then on that first day of school, when they're like nervous and their tummy's kind of hurting, maybe they're feeling a little stressed or they're so excited that they're not really like paying attention to things, like that's not the time to introduce a new routine of trying to like pack up your backpack and get out the door. You want to have that routine established so that the first week of school, you can be chatting with them about like, here's what you can do if you don't see any of your friends at lunchtime, as opposed to like, put it in your bag and get in the car, which I'm sure none of us have ever done. Anyways, what kind of routines am I talking about here? So like in the morning, things like getting up immediately, like make your bed, come down and eat your breakfast, go get upstairs, brush your teeth, get dressed, do any chores that you're responsible before. Double check your launch pad that we talked about earlier is ready. Like, does it have all the things you need? And then go about your summer fun as usual, but get them in the habit of spending that first 20 to 30 minutes that they're up in getting everything ready for the day so that you can be in that routine of getting out the door on time when school hits. Bedtime routines. I like to look at my calendar for the next day. We talk about what we're going to be doing. That gives us a chance to prep our launch pad. Like, what things are we going to need? Okay, well, we have blah, blah, blah activity. We need these 3 sports equipment items. Choosing your clothes for the next day. So you already know what you have to do. So you know, like, what's an appropriate school outfit. We also, my son loves to ask Alexa what the weather is. So that way we know like, oh, it's going to rain tomorrow. Okay, well, then we're going to choose different clothes. Getting ready for bed, then having a little like relaxing time, preferably no screens for, whatever is appropriate for you. But, I've been doing some reading about the blue light really inhibits our ability to make melatonin and fall asleep. And I love reading, and I often read on my book. I get library books on my phone app all the time, and here I'm reading like all this horrible stuff about trying to go to sleep quickly. And so I'm trying to do a better job of just getting real books. But anyway, I'm getting off on tangent. So, give your kids a little time to relax, read a story, like, play a board game, whatever it is to kind of like calm down. Please hear me. I'm not saying like no screens ever. I'm just saying like do it earlier so that your kids aren't looking at this blue light for, the 20 minutes before bed or whatever it is. Anyway, sorry. Moving along. Next item. Moving our wake up and bedtimes back over like 1 or 2 weeks before school, because obviously we're in summer routine / non-routine right now. And I don't know about you, but like my kids are going to bed like probably an hour later than they normally do in the school year. And so, your kiddo, how long are they going to take to adjust to that new time? Like, how far off are you from the time where you really need to be getting up for school? You might have to start a solid 2 weeks before school, because you really want to have that week before school to already be in that new time so that your kid's used to it, as opposed to just like, I know they always recommend, they're like, oh, well, just move it up the 3 days before. But like, let's be honest here. Like, I'm not a morning person. Like, if you want me to get up 2 hours earlier, like adjusting my bedtime 3 days before is not going to make me well rested for that third day. Like, I need to have gotten there over time and like already been doing it for a little bit before I feel well rested. Ooh, and next one. I was reading this really cool article about goal setting plans with your kiddo. I think it was from Attitude Magazine. And just talk to them a little bit about creating that positive mindset for school, that like they are going to be successful, that they are going to have friends. Even just one good friend is really all your kid needs. But whatever they're like feeling anxious about, it gives them a chance to kind of talk to you about, well, I'm really worried about what if I don't have any friends in my lunch period? how you can attack those proactively, and just having this like discussion about how things are going to be successful, I think is just so important, not just for us, but for our kids too. And think about that goal setting ahead of time, like make time for those kind of discussions with your kids ahead of time so that they're going into school with a positive mindset of like, I'm going to be able to do this. I'm going to turn my homework in on time. I know I can do this, and things like that they can really help them push through when they're struggling in school, because sometimes school's really hard. And then my last tip is block out the weekend before school starts to relax. Don't do any of that stuff. Like have it all done before so that last weekend you can just enjoy, not be stressed out. If you can even get ready like the whole week early, then just enjoy that last week. Like go do all the last chance like pool time and go to the zoo and do all that fun stuff so that you're ending the summer on like a fun, stress-free note. You've got your routines in place. Your kids are feeling calm and you're feeling calm, and just creating that place where your home is that refuge for your kids, where they feel comfortable, they feel calm, they know what's coming, they know how to be successful. Just give yourself that space that week or the weekend before to just enjoy. So Mama, that was a really lengthy list. So it's like, oh, I didn't realize how long I'd be talking here. But these are all really helpful things that I want you to have a chance to ponder, like, hey, what are the things that are going to work for our family, and getting ready for this new time, this new season, preparing so that your school year for you and for your kids is setting off with a positive mindset where you're feeling calm and just that you're enjoying the next season instead of this like frazzled tizzy of new things for a month. So Successful Mama, I know that you can take one or none. If you don't like me, hey, don't listen, I guess. Or all of these things and find a way to make your August and September as joyful as possible in these times of crazy. If you haven't had a chance, please head down to the bottom of the iTunes app and give me 5 stars so that we can keep on sharing the Successful Mama mindset with others, and have a super awesome week. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Motherhood and ADHD. For more resources, head over to our website, www.motherhoodandadhd.com.